Okay, so picture this. For 43 days, NASA, the biggest space agency in the world, was sitting on what could be the most important space images maybe ever. And while they were totally silent, a bunch of amateur astronomers were capturing something truly bizarre. Something that would challenge pretty much everything we thought we knew about visitors from other star systems. So the big question is, what exactly was NASA not telling us?
Right, that's the central mystery here. We're talking about an object called 3I/Atlas, an honest-to-goodness visitor from another star system. And just as it was making its closest pass by our sun, the moment of truth, the agency with the absolute best view in the entire cosmos just went dark.
43 days. I mean, think about that. That's how long the scientific community, and all of us, had to wait. For an object that's just screaming through space at 246,000 kilometers an hour, 43 days isn't just some delay, it's an eternity. It's a critical window to observe something incredible just gone.
So let's break this down. What exactly happened during this blackout? I mean, the timing here could not have been more critical. We had a front row seat to an object from another star. This is the kind of event that might not happen again for millions of years. And right as the main event was about to begin, it's like NASA just pulled the curtain shut.
Okay, so here's the play-by-play. On October 1st, a U.S. government shutdown starts. Literally the next day, NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which is perfectly positioned, only 29 million kilometers away, snaps these amazing high-resolution pictures as the object gets absolutely blasted by the sun. This was the moment. Any weird behavior, anything out of the ordinary, would be impossible to hide. But instead of sharing it, that priceless data just sat on a server somewhere, completely locked away, while this thing just sped right on out of our solar system forever.
But here's where the story gets really interesting. While all the official channels were dead silent, this global network of amateur astronomers, citizen scientists, they were hard at work. And believe me, what they found would completely change the entire story.
And the contrast here is it's staggering, really. You've got NASA, with its billion-dollar spacecraft in the absolute perfect spot. And then you've got these enthusiasts, using consumer-grade equipment, looking up through Earth's soupy atmosphere. And yet, and this is the crazy part, it was the amateurs who were sharing these incredible, detailed findings almost instantly.
And this quote, it just perfectly captures the spirit of folks like Michael Jagger and Gerald Riemann. These guys, working from Namibia, weren't on some big government payroll. Nope. They were just driven by a pure passion for watching the sky. And because of that passion, they made a discovery that forced the entire scientific world to sit up and pay attention.
So what did they actually see that was so shocking? Well, the data pouring in from this network of backyard telescopes revealed not just one, but 3 major anomalies. We're talking about phenomena that just seem to break the known laws of physics for how comets are supposed to behave.
Okay, first up, they saw 7 distinct jets of material streaming off this thing. Now, jets themselves, totally normal for a comet. But here's the kicker. Some of these jets were pointed directly towards the sun. That just shouldn't be possible. The sun pushes things away from it, it doesn't pull them in. This was a massive problem for the standard comet model.
So this leaves us with 2 wildly different ways to explain it. Is it just 7 random patches of ice turning to gas, creating these streams? You know, the natural explanation? Or is it something way more deliberate? Something like 7 controlled thrusters that can be pointed in any direction, even towards the sun, maybe for a course correction?
All right, the next puzzle has to do with the object's color. You know how comets often have that classic green glow? Well, there's a simple reason for that. It's a molecule called diatomic carbon, and it basically lights up, it fluoresces, when it gets hit by the sun's UV rays. It's a standard, really well-understood chemical signature. But here's the thing. 3I/Atlas was glowing with that distinct green color, and yet, when the James Webb Space Telescope, Hubble, and a bunch of ground-based observatories all took a look, they couldn't find any diatomic carbon. None. Zilch. The key ingredient for that green glow was just gone, which left scientists scratching their heads, wondering what on earth was causing it. And that brings us to the third and maybe the most stunning anomaly of all. Let's just quickly refresh a basic rule of physics in our solar system. Everything flows outward from the sun. You've got the solar wind, you've got radiation pressure. These are constant forces pushing dust and gas away. It's the whole reason a comet's tail always points away from the sun. It's like physics 101.
And yet, observers started capturing images of what they called anti-tails. We're talking about jets of material stretching out for nearly 1 million kilometers, flowing directly into the solar wind, back towards the sun. That's like watching water from a fire hose decide to flow back into the nozzle. It just completely defies the fundamental forces that are supposed to be in control here.
So you can imagine, with all these bizarre observations pouring in from amateur astronomers all over the world, the pressure on NASA was getting pretty intense. So let's take a closer look at their official reason for the 43-day silence, which was, of course, the government shutdown.
Yeah, that whole shutdown explanation, it starts to fall apart pretty quickly when you look at the facts. The James Webb and Hubble telescopes kept running. The International Space Station stayed fully staffed. The Deep Space Network kept transmitting data. All these critical, high-profile missions, they continued operating without a single hitch. Heck, even the Mars Orbiter itself did its job and collected the data. The only thing that actually stopped was sharing that data with the rest of us.
Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb, well, he did not mince words. He basically called the delay proof of human incompetence. He argued that this incredibly time-sensitive scientific knowledge about a once-in-a-million-year object was being held hostage by, political games and red tape.
In the end, it actually took political intervention to break the logjam. A U.S. representative, Anna Paulina Luna, turned this whole data delay into a public transparency issue. She demanded that NASA release the images right now, and it wasn't long after that NASA finally committed to releasing the data as soon as the shutdown was over.
But even after the images were finally released, and honestly, they were a lot blurrier than many people had hoped, the story was far from over. In fact, you could say the biggest mystery of all was staring us right in the face, a final, baffling contradiction that is just almost impossible to explain.
So here's something we know for a fact. Based on the way its brightness changes over time, we know that 3I/Atlas is spinning. It completes one full rotation on its axis every 16.16 hours. This isn't a guess. This is a solid, established piece of data.
And this is the final, absolutely mind-bending problem. Think about a spinning lawn sprinkler, right? The water comes out in spirals. If you have jets firing from a spinning object, they have to form spirals. It's just physics. But every single image we have of this thing shows 7 perfectly straight, focused beams. They show zero evidence of that 16-hour rotation we know is happening. So, how is that even possible?
Which leaves us right here. You've got jets pointing the wrong way, a green glow with no known source, and straight beams coming off a spinning object. So, are these all just a series of really bizarre natural anomalies that we just don't understand yet? Or do all these clues point to something else entirely? That is the question that 3I/Atlas has left behind for all of us to think about.